Right into the weekend, it is the 6th stage and the all-important general classification appointment, the second of two summit finishes on the Presidential Cycling Tour of Turkiye, the 61st edition of this beautiful stage race that takes us up and down and around the Aegean and Mediterranean coast and onto the Turkish Riviera at Antalya for our start today. Relatively short stage, just over 130 kilometers in prospect. Just a little bit less than that. Comes up to 130 with the neutralized section. And just one classified climb. It's a long flat route to a very, very demanding climb of Feslikan, making its first appearance in the Presidential Cycling Tour of Turkey. Two intermediate sprints along the way, one for the Treasures of Turkey competition and one offering bonus seconds, but the entire focus is on the final 22.5 kilometer thrash up the newly minted Feslikan climb. Well, it's been there for a long time, to say the least. The locals have known about it, but it's a first time appearance in this bike race. Tail of the tape, it's a real hockey stick, this one, isn't it? A long day of contemplating and reflecting on what's to come. Everyone a bit tuckered out after a long week of stage racing, but Ivan Sosa has to drag tired legs back into battle to try and defend his turquoise jersey from this man. Sebastian Berwick's going to look after Sosa's Mountains jersey. It'll be easy to pick out in the peloton as he goes to chase down the 13-second deficit between him and Glory, himself and Glory. Brouillard is sitting in third place for Total Energy within 21 seconds of the overall race lead. And Ivan Sosa and Equipo Cairn Pharma with a job to do. The second time of asking after his stage success on day 3, and still in that white jersey, Mustafa Tarakci, the Treasures of Türkiye jersey presented to the crowd at the start in the company of Ivan Remiro Sosa. Tom Krabbe, the leader of the points classification after his brace of stage victories at the outset of hostilities on Sunday and Monday. And with much fanfare, the riders sent on their way. A little bit cooler today than it has been. A little bit of wind out there. Not sure if it's going to play a role in the destination of honours today. Beautiful sunny conditions down in Antalya, but with a final climb reaching up to touching 2,000 meters of altitude. Well, potentially a little bit cooler at the summit, but the action hot and heavy at the outset, as when the flag came in, riders pushing hard to try and infiltrate an early break. Eventually, a group assembling on the road. Took a while for it to establish itself, but we got a group of 14 riders, including Zeno Monin, his teammate Jonah Killy, also in the group. Monin taking the intermediate sprint, something to take home to Belgium, but on to the final 22.5 kilometer climb, and almost immediately, Imogen, the group's starting to split.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can see here Christian Bagetin along with Xavier Isasa from Euskaltel Euskadi setting a really steady pace at the front. They're just doing their own thing and dropping Ferhat Kanshamli, who was in the break with them.
Yeah, some measure it at 21.5 kilometers long, some measure it at 22.5 kilometers long. Whatever way you measure it, and the road is rising for well over 22 kilometers on the approach to this one. And as you can see, it's Javier Ibanez, the latest to struggle a little bit. Flounder, he's going backwards. Metkel Ayob from the Istanbul squad is just trying to winch himself up this climb as best he can, but already finding himself being distanced by the three riders further ahead. Meanwhile, well, these are the riders going backwards. A few sprinters in there. Tarakci as well in that white jersey, Treasures of Turkey, and the most prominent local rider in the peloton with that white jersey. Meanwhile, the main peloton, or at least the group of favourites, fast thinning out group, and a big push on from the Cofidis squad to try and challenge and put a little bit of pressure on the overall race leader. Maybe challenge for stage honours. They don't have much skin in the GC game. Well, they have got that stage victory courtesy of Stanislav Anielkowski from day 4.
Yeah, and here you can see Christian Bagetin again just keeping his own steady pace up the climb, and he's actually gone solo now and dropped Isasa, who was with him. And it seems like he's just staying within his own limits. He knows how long this climb is, and he doesn't want to go too much into zone 5 because he knows that there's a really steep finish coming. So 17.5k left for Christian Bagetin of MBH team at the moment.
Yeah, he's a rookie pro, and this is the moment that he just started to put a little bit of extra daylight between himself and Isasa. And you know, when you can't go, you can't go, and that's simply it, isn't it? It was a resignation signal, wasn't it, from Isasa as he put the old sunglasses in his mouth, as if to say, that's as far as I go with the front of the race. Meanwhile, front of the group of favourites, slight change here with the Total Energy squad starting to take up the cudgels on making things as difficult as possible for the turquoise jersey of Ivan Sosa, sitting 4th or 5th in line at the moment. What sort of pressure are they putting on the race leader?
Yeah, and it seems like they really are set on making a statement today in this race, and really setting a hard pace off the climb and dropping a lot of riders from the back. You can actually see here that they're dropping Matej Skalko from XCS Astana, who's in 8th on GC.
Yeah, just over a minute down on the race lead starting the day, but difficult and worrying moments for Matej Skalko. He does have his teammates Nicholas Vinokurov after a difficult moment on the climb. He's still there amongst the group of favourites. Henok Muller-Prahan as well, the 7th place rider. Now, 2.5 kilometres from the finish line, trying to overhaul a 13-second deficit. This is the push on from Sebastian Berwick of the Caja team. And immediately, Ivan Sosa, on the right-hand side of the group of favourites, moves to the front alongside his teammate. As Ibon Ruiz looks to try and assist his teammate, the overall race leader, in fending off this attack from Sebastian Berwick. Berwick starting the day 13 seconds down. He's got a challenging deficit to overhaul because Ivan Sosa, he's not panicking just yet.
No, absolutely not. He's really grateful, I'd say, to have Ibon Ruiz just in front of him, helping to maybe bring him a little bit closer to Seb Berwick. Every second counts on a climb like this, so I'm sure they'll be raring to get him back a bit closer to them right now. I think he's maybe, you know, a small gap ahead, but everything counts at this moment, and he's really strung the peloton out on the line, has Ibon Ruiz.
Yeah, Bruyère struggling as well, the 3rd place man overall, just dropping to the back of the group. His teammate Jordan Jagat is 3rd in line of these riders, just on the tail of the overall race leader in that turquoise jersey, and in the white jersey of Total Energy. Jordan Jagat looking like he's having a slightly stronger day than his 3rd placed teammate Bruyère. Jagat starting the day 9th. Berwick on screen starting the day in 3rd place, in 2nd place overall at 13 seconds. And this the moment and the signal for the final push. And will it be enough? Daylight starting to open up. Berwick elbows out, setting himself to the task and making decent progress on the hill.
Yeah, but not to forget, Christian Bagetin is still leading this race. He's still out in front. But at the moment, Seb Berwick is what the focus is on, as he has the potential to move into 1st place on that GC if he keeps on pushing out this gap to Sosa.
This is Ibon Ruiz on the front here to try and assist his teammate in closing down this gap. Ruiz 13th place overall himself, but totally dedicated now to what is a major threat to the overall race leadership of Ivan Sosa. Just 2 stages remaining after this one. Neither of them really offering an opportunity for the GC contenders. So this potentially the final battle. Jagat looking to race across the gap. The Frenchman taking his moment. Ivan Sosa sensing, and I think Jagat perhaps sensing, that Ibon Ruiz was running out of strength there. Bonu as well, also trying to move up, the Belgian rider with the Solution Technical Rally team and those blue colours. And it's the blue, the turquoise blue of Ivan Sosa, just easing his way up onto the white jersey of Jordan Jagat.
And funnily enough, it's not the Total Energy rider that we thought we'd see up there. We definitely thought that we would see their 3rd place rider, Bruyère, up leading the chase to Berwick, but he's been dropped, and I think that Ivan Sosa will be really happy to have this help from Jordan Jagat to maybe bring that gap to Berwick a bit closer. But Seb Berwick looks like he's on an absolute ripper today. He's really flying.
quick reminder that Christian Bagetin is still leading this stage. He's the rider ahead on the climb. Second on the road at the moment is Sebastian Berwick, and that is a tantalizingly close advantage. Ivan Sosa goes to the front, wants to try and close this one down. 13 seconds. Bonus seconds, of course, likely to be key on the finish line as well. Bagetin in command of those 10 bonus seconds for the stage winners. Second place across the line will get 6 and 4. Also going to be crucial for the battle for the overall. Meanwhile, Bouchard trying to assist number 112. That's Brouillard starting the day third overall, but now struggling.
Yeah, and really surprising to see Brouillard back there. I'm sure it's not what Total Energy had anticipated when they started this climb in such an aggressive manner, but now Ivan Sosa is there with Jordan Jagat, and they seem to be getting maybe closer to Berwick, but he's, you know, replicating that style that he had on stage 3, where he's out of the saddle, really just getting every watt that he can through those pedals, and it's going to be a really big task to catch him back.
Yeah, 9 seconds, not quite enough. 1,700 meters remaining. Ivan Sosa just hanging on in there. Is he starting to get a little bit closer? Bonu is starting to fade a little bit. Looks like Muller Brahan as well, also thereabouts. They almost got back to Ivan Sosa and Jordan Jagat, but Sosa pressing on a little bit more now.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be really down to the line, and Ivan Sosa is definitely ready to empty himself fully, but there's riders just getting shelled out the back here, and Christian Bagetin anticipating, really willing that finish line to get closer and closer. He's only 1.5k out, and it's a really standout performance from him.
Oh, the pain etched on the face of the young Italian rider, 24 years of age, in his first year as a fully fledged professional at Division 2 status with the MBH Bank CSB Telecom Ford squad. He's got enough in hand though. Started the mountain with about, what, 6.5 minutes. That's been pared back to less than, well, 1 3/4 minutes at this point. Now all eyes on the battle for GC, with the red jersey on the shoulders of Sebastian Berwick, trying to overhaul. A 13-second margin to the overall race leader, Ivan Sosa, 28-year-old Colombian.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's Seb Berwick again out of the saddle and just really pushing side to side, trying to get as much time as he can into Ivan Sosa and Jordan Jagat, who are chasing close behind him, and Ivan Sosa looking really strong as well, but it's going to be hard to match Berwick today.
Yeah, he's fully focused here. You wouldn't know it to look at that poker face, but he is absolutely almost at the end of his tether, but still maintaining great rhythm, as indeed is Christian Bagetin in his battle for what would be a massive stage victory for him. Even Ruiz has done great work for his teammate Ivan Sosa today, has para for this man Sebastian Berwick. They've left their team leaders to their devices on the mountain. The gap now, well, it's not quite as close as that. It's a little bit more than 6 seconds, but not much more. Still tantalizingly close for Ivan Sosa. Is he going to be able to reclaim Berwick and neutralize this dangerous attack?
Yeah, and is Christian Bagetin going to be able to hold that to the line, which I'm sure he is. He's within 1 kilometre to go, and unless anything goes severely wrong, he's got that win in the bag, and Sebastian Berwick is opening up the gap to Ivan Sosa, who looks like he's cracking a little bit and just getting a little bit more uncomfortable on the bike with Jordan Jagat in his wheel.
Sosa really stomping on the pedals, but if anything, yeah, as you say, Imogen, it could be just a little bit of extra daylight starting to open up between Sebastian Berwick and Ivan Sosa behind. Sosa, who moved back into the winner's circle after several years of difficulty. Iliac artery surgery helped to solve that for him. But the Colombian rider, having got that stage success on day 3, now wants more. He wants the overall victory. So too, though, does Berwick. But Bagetin has a little look over his shoulder, and as he races past the kite and into the final 1,000 meters of this stage, still hanging on to a victory well north of a minute.
Yeah, and Ivan Sosa now has dropped Jordan Jagat and is closing in, it looks like, on Seb Berwick, so it really will be down to the line for this GC battle. While Christian Bagetin has it in the bag, these two guys are going to be really fighting for every second that they can get.
Jagat's fighting for everything. He goes to the inside. Sosa takes the slightly smoother line around the outside. Different surface offered here. great mountain, really challenging hill, 21.5 kilometers at over 8%, and then the final 3K into double figures, north of 10% average in those 3 final cruel kilometers of this stage. 700 meters remaining, and still a minute and a quarter of an advantage for Christian Bagatine, who after a long day in the breakaway, going absolutely pell-mell into the mountain and then up this climb. Bagatine has retained impressive strength. He's a prospect for the future, because surely he's got enough to claim what will be a massive victory in his career. So too Sebastian Berwick knows that victory today, or at least second on the stage by more than 13 seconds from this man Ivan Sosa, is going to be enough to take over the overall race leadership and that turquoise jersey. But there can be no let up from here to the line. Sosa at least has the advantage of being able to see his rival.
Yeah, absolutely. And Seb Berwick, I think he's doing a style similar to what we saw on stage 3, where he's just emptying everything out of himself to get to that finish line. And it was a really great effort that he had, paced well at the beginning, and then he just goes all out. And Christian Bagatine here, he's also paced this climb really well, and he's just getting to the line. I think he's going to be about a minute to spare, which is incredibly well paced from somebody who comes here on a pro team and up against World Tour riders. It's an incredible result for him today.
Yeah, wonderful result in prospect, but he's still got well, about 400 meters on this hill. Going to be the longest 400 meters of this young Italian rider's life, from Cittiglio in the foothills of the Italian Dolomites. He knows the mountains, and he knows how to measure his effort. He's done a great job. Surely Berwick has opened up a little bit more daylight. This is looking like a difficult moment potentially for Ivan Sosa. Can Sosa possibly respond? Has he got anything left? Huge encouragement for your stage leader and would-be stage winner.
Yeah, and he'll just be willing that line to get closer and closer for his biggest career win ever. He's got his grimace on, and I'd say he can't believe what is about to happen for him. What a massive result this is.
23-year-old from Cittiglio, Christian Bagatine, through the final bends and up the final cruel moments, because the gradient does not yield for a moment all the way to the finish line. And this has been a beautifully produced exercise. The only rider from the early break to survive ahead of the GC contenders today. And it is Christian Bagatine racing to glory, dragging that frame. He's over 6 feet tall in old money, 183 centimeters. And now he can barely believe it. Starting to sink in the measure of his achievement. And Christian Bagatine has done it. Gets the arms in the air and can celebrate victory on stage 6 of the Presidential Cycling Tour of Turkey. Now we can focus our attention on the GC battle as Ivan Sosa goes in pursuit of Sebastian Berwick, who's a corner ahead at this point. Berwick, I think, is almost at the end of his tether, starting to really suffer. You can almost see it measured on his face. He too looks around with 200 meters remaining, and he too knows that there can be no backward glance. Well, barely just risks one there. He's on his lowest possible gear, and he's just going to try and rev this one to the line. What's he possibly got? They'll start the stopwatch when he makes it through, but Berwick is not going to yield for a second before he reaches that finish line. It's been a brave effort here from the Brisbaneite, and he has given a really good scare to Ivan Sosa, perhaps a little bit more than that. And for the Caja squad, second on the day, could potentially offer much more and an even greater prize. And that's it for Sebastian Berwick. Here comes Ivan Sosa. This is going to be incredibly close. Well, it was a minute gap as he went across the line for Berwick. What's it going to be? Jordan Jagak just gets up and over him for third on the day. That could be critical. And it looked like 13 seconds of a gap between them. Maybe even a little bit less. Could have been 11 seconds. Berwick's absolutely shattered. They'll add that up, take it away, and I think Berwick could well have taken the lead.
Yeah, and you can see the absolute effort that took out of him. He's laid out on the ground and he's emptied himself, possibly to go into GC lead. We'll have to find out and do the maths, but it's an amazing result for the Caja squad.
Well, Berwick is absolutely exhausted as the rest of the riders make their way through to the finish line in various states of disrepair. But Berwick has done enough. Arriving at the finish line, just 11 seconds to the good, and that little extra spurt from Jordan Jagat to pinch third place on the line, potentially absolutely critical, because the 4 seconds gain there, or the 4 seconds that he took away from Ivan Sosa in the bonus, well, that could matter hugely in the overall destination of honours. But Sebastian Berwick, we believe, has done enough to take over the overall race leadership with just 2 stages remaining.
Yeah, an incredible ride from him, and it just goes to show how much every second counts when it comes to a stage race. So really riding to the line and through it, it really does make a massive difference. But you can see here the effect that that final kilometre really took on Christian Vagatin, and how much he also had to empty himself to take that stage win.
Yeah, glory for Christian Bagatin, stage honours as he heads to the first winners' podium of his young career. His trip to the breakaway today, it just shows you sometimes the riders from the break can prevail, and that's why there was such a titanic scrap to get in it.
Yeah, you just have to believe in it, and if you have that belief as you get closer and closer to the line, the hunger of actually making it happen can just drive you through it. And you can see how much it means to him and to his team. What a result.
Yeah, former third place finisher in the under-23 national time trial category. He's pretty good up a mountain as well. And unbridled joy from the Italian.
Yeah, it's a real team effort. You see how much it means to them. It's their first year as a pro team. And yeah, it's massive celebrations, I'm sure, tonight. They've had a great week. Well,
he has he won the Grand Premio Industria del Marmo a couple of years ago at a lower level. This, an altogether greater achievement. Christian Bagatin gets the stage victory ahead of Sebastian Berwick, Jordan Jagat, Ivan Sosa, and the rest.
Christian, congratulations. Did you expect your first pro win to come in the Queen stage of the Tour of Turkey?
Unbelievable. This morning I went in the breakaway random. Was not in the plan to be in the breakaway. And okay, I was in the breakaway. I said, okay, I stay in front as soon as possible for my leader, Fanche. And I took the climb. I was in a good shape. I did my pace every climb. I said, okay. I went to go to 10 kilometers to go. After 5, after 3, and there was Maini in the car that pulling me. And in my head there was only my girlfriend, my teammates, my team, and yes, I don't believe it.
You are a rider from the historical amateur team Kolpak that is now a professional team. It's your first year in the pro ranks. How big is it to win today?
I need to say thanks to Antonio Bevilacqua and all the team that gave me this opportunity, and I'm happy to win today, and this is for the team.
Is this a big race for you?
Yeah, I don't believe it what happened, and maybe tomorrow I will understand what I did today.
One last word in Italian. In italiano cosa puoi aggiungere?
Non lo so neanche io. Ciao ragazzi, un saluto dall'Italia, non so cosa è successo oggi. Un bacio a tutti. Un saluto al mio fan club. Andrea che mi stai guardando.
Complimenti.
Thank you.
He's starting to absorb the measure of his achievement. Top spot on the podium to Christian Bagatin, flanked by somewhat exhausted-looking Sebastian Berwick. Goes into the overall race leadership. He takes over that turquoise jersey from Ivan Sosa by 5 seconds. Camille Bonu up to third, Jordan Jagat up to fourth, Briard a little bit further back. But it is Sebastian Berwick that's celebrating and heading towards the final 2 stages in the overall race leadership of the Presidential Cycling Tour of Turkey.
Kral etabında ikinci olmuştu. Bugün birinci oldu ve liderlik mayosunu sırtına